welcome back to another Freaky Friday video on my channel. Today's video is kind of a little bit of a change of pace, I think. Well, maybe not, but it's something very, very strange and I found it to be very, very interesting. So I hope that you guys also find it really interesting and I hope that you enjoy this video. So with that all being said, let's get right into it. Today we are going to be talking about a man by the name of David Huggins. David Huggins is an artist, but what he paints may be surprising and shocking to a lot of you. What he paints in these photos are pictures of him having sex with aliens. David Huggins lived in rural Georgia for his entire childhood. He was born there and he grew up on his family's farm accompanied by his two parents, and I believe he had one sister. His entire life or his childhood was very normal. It was very loving and just a normal childhood up until the year 1952 when David was about 8 years old. David that day was sitting on his property, or his family's property, sorry, underneath a tree just enjoying himself and relaxing when all of a sudden he heard an unfamiliar voice coming from behind him that said, "David, behind you." When David turned around, he saw what he described as a creature with a very small stature that was covered in hair and appeared to have yellow glowing eyes. Later on, David would go on to describe this creature as looking like a very, very tiny Sasquatch. This encounter while sitting under a tree on his family's property would be the first of many encounters that David claimed to have had with extraterrestrials. He said that he now today has had over 100 different encounters with different types of aliens. That is including the Greys, which are a very popular, I guess, like breed of alien. And he also claimed to have been in contact with this alien that resembled that of a very large praying mantis. And although all of the alien encounters are very interesting and you would think having any kind of extraterrestrial encounter would be super interesting, but our main focus today is what happened to David when he was 17 years old in the year 1961. And this is where our video is going to take a weird twist, so get ready for it. So David was 17 years old, again the year was 1961, and he was still living with his parents on their farm. David had left his home and was walking through like this secluded wooded area that was close to his house, and that is when he saw a female alien. He said that he didn't even know, but the female alien was actually seducing him, and David became very sexually aroused. David refers to this alien as Crescent and said that she had told him that that was her name. So David says that after this alien seduced him, he was aroused. The alien basically climbed on top of him, he reached his climax, and he described that as being extremely painful, and then David passed out. And that is how David Huggins lost his virginity to an alien. There's actually a full documentary made about David Huggins, and it's called Love and Saucers, and in this documentary, David is quoted saying, "If anything, I thought I would lose it in the back of a Ford," something like that, but it just didn't work out that way. He describes this alien Crescent as having an alien-like head. He said that her skin was very, very pale, she had black hair and very large eyes, but from the neck down, she had a very attractive female body. David himself is a very talented artist, so all of these paintings that I am inserting throughout this video are David's encounters or paintings of David's encounters and what the aliens that he has encountered look like. Sometime after this, David moved to New York City to practice and study art, and that is when he began painting pictures of all of his experiences and of Crescent and the other aliens that he encountered. Now, the strange thing is that is not the only incident where David claims to have had intercourse with an alien. He said that after he moved to New York, Crescent kind of followed him there, and she visited him on a regular basis, even into adulthood, and they partook in intercourse. And that strange, large, praying mantis-like creature that I talked a little bit about earlier, he said that every single time that they had sex, that praying mantis was around watching them do the deed. David says that he never really minded being visited by Crescent. He said that their encounters were always warm and friendly, although a little strange, but I mean, how else are you going to describe having an encounter with an alien other than a little strange? But overall, he said that he didn't mind these encounters and he honestly liked seeing her. He said there was something about her that just struck him as absolutely beautiful. Again, she had a lot of features of a female human, except for she had very pale skin, dark hair, huge eyes, and really, really long fingernails. While in New York, David Huggins started to have strange, unexplainable dreams, and in these dreams, or at the end of these dreams, he would hear his alien friends saying to him not to worry and that they would be back the following night to see him. But David actually couldn't recall ever meeting with the aliens while he was in New York until the year 1996, when he started to recall the sexual encounters that he had had with the alien known as Crescent. He said that during these encounters, Crescent was always on top and he was always on the bottom, and that his body was pretty much paralyzed. He couldn't move while this was going on. After he started getting visited regularly by Crescent, shortly after this, he actually started to get visited by other female aliens, and they would also get freaky with him. But Crescent was the only one who visited him more than once, or at least on a regular basis, and she's the only one who I believe he knew the name of. Something that stood out to me in the documentary, and I was like, I gotta put that in my video, is David told the people who were talking to him throughout the documentary that although it was unconventional, Crescent was pretty much his girlfriend and he would consider them to be in a relationship. Now, I don't even know about long distance relationships. I feel like they're very hard if you live multiple cities apart or hours of driving just to see one another. But can you imagine having a significant other who lived in a completely different planet? David was inspired to start painting his encounters with these aliens after reading the book Intruders, The Visitation at Copley Woods. He said that the chapter Other Women, Other Men brought back memories to him of what had happened, and this really stressed him out and made him scared, and he didn't know what to do. He actually started to lose a lot of sleep and his health was declining until he was contacted by these aliens who told him that he should start to paint his experiences. Immediately after being in contact with these aliens who told him to start painting these pictures, David went ahead and did that right away. He began painting immediately. And that really helped him process what had happened to him, what he had been going through, and it was also really therapeutic for him. So after doing this, he decided that he was going to start to paint every single encounter that he had. And as far as I know, he has done that up until this point. Now, although this video doesn't really have the creep factor because of what we're talking about, David talks about his alien encounters and his sexual encounters with Crescent and all of that very almost matter-of-factly, as if they really did happen, and not really as if some people may find his claims to be outlandish or unbelievable. Although his, relationship that he has with this Crescent being and some of the other aliens who visit him on a regular basis isn't one that is damaging or scary, I do think that this entire case, if it has any truth to it, is extremely creepy. But David's alien encounters don't stop there. He said that he was visited by many aliens over the span of his entire life, and that he had even fathered many human hybrid alien babies. After having these alien encounters, David was told by the aliens that he could not disclose any of these encounters or any of this information or tell anybody about this until he was 50 years old, at which time he could share this information and everything that had happened to him with the world. And David decided to do that through his art. David, who is now in his early 70s, if I'm not mistaken, claims that the alien Crescent still visits him to this day, and that although he is aged like a normal human being, she looks the exact same and is not aged at all. She looks the exact same as she looked when she took his virginity when he was just 17 years old. I know that this video is a little bit different than the other videos that I talk about on this channel, as it doesn't have such a strong creep factor. It's almost a little bit humorous. I feel bad saying that because I don't want to discredit David Huggins. I do think that there is possibly some truth to his story. There's a documentary about him called Love and Saucers, which I highly recommend watching. It's very, very interesting. But if I was making some faces throughout this video or smiling, I do feel a little bit uncomfortable talking about people getting freaky with aliens to a camera. I never really thought about that when I picked the topic of this video, but it does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But let me know what you guys think about this case down below. But guys, that brings us to the end of this video. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below what you'd like to see in my future videos, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!